If you're a fan of Watch Catalog, you probably know I've never actually bought a single Rolex. Honestly, there's no real reason. Like I've mentioned in my previous videos, I don't really care about a watch's resale value. And trust me, I'm definitely not some rich, tune-in generation kid. If you know me in person, you wouldn't doubt it. My family isn't exactly well off either. It's mostly through my own hard work that I've managed to scrape together a bit of money to buy a watch and enjoy the craftsmanship. So I've always been pretty cautious about buying watches, and since I'm a designer, I tend to go for something a bit different when I pick one out. If you want to put it nicely, I've got personality. If you don't, you could just say I'm being difficult. But honestly, I haven't regretted it so far. As long as you don't care about the resale value when you're into watches, you can just buy whatever you want and stay happy. So naturally, I've never really considered those legendary brands like Rolex. No exaggeration. I've really never bought one, not even a second-hand one, and not even a little brother brand like Tudor. When it comes to Cantonese watch channels, this might just be the craziest and dumbest one out there. I don't even own a single Rolex, not even one, and I've never made any videos about Rolex either. So this is basically my first one, so please go easy on me. So if you've already subscribed to my channel, you must really love watches. If you haven't subscribed yet and just clicked in because of the Rolex in the title, why not hit that subscribe button too? A watch channel without even half a Rolex, can you believe it? And maybe you want to stick around to see when I finally buy my first one. I've put together a summary for everyone to check out, haha. But lately, Rolex prices have dropped quite a bit, and with the official prices still going up, the gap in the second-hand market has really narrowed. Even someone like me, who originally had zero interest in Rolex, is actually tempted to go buy my very first Rolex. Given my own picky standards for watches, can you guess which models I'd actually be interested in buying? Or maybe after watching the video, you can turn the tables and introduce some to me. The guy behind Watch Catalog. So, which one do you think best represents Watch Catalog? Honestly, there's one big reason why I can just ignore most of the models out there. But let me just say up front, I really don't know much about Rolex, so this video is purely about the looks. This is my first time making a video about Rolex, so if I mess anything up, please go easy on me. Honestly, given where I am now, a middle-aged guy, here's how I think about buying a watch. Manual or automatic, hold it, Rolex 9 out of 10 modern models are automatics. Unless you're buying a vintage Rolex, but personally, I'm pretty indifferent to vintage watches. So manual wind Rolexes will just have to stay in my dreams. Date or no date? If you ask me, of course I'd go for no date if I had the choice, but that knocks out a whole bunch, like the GMT, Date Just and those. So yeah, the options narrow down a lot. Watch design and how special it is, these two kind of go hand in hand. When it comes to gold watches versus steel ones, honestly, some models only come in gold cases. But wow, those gold watch prices. You could buy so many fun things for that kind of money. So I've never really been that interested in getting a Rolex in gold. Might as well just stick with a steel Rolex, right? I mean, I'm only planning to own one, so there's no reason to go all in on a gold one from the start. Alright, after all this rambling, there's actually one model I've always thought was okay. Even if you asked me today, it's still the first one that pops into my head. Can you guess which one it is? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The Milgauss with the green crystal. Back then, I wasn't so picky about having no date window. I've always thought the green crystal looks great, simple, classy, and that green glass is just something special. A green dial with an orange lightning bolt hand? That's a killer combo. Now everyone's into green dials, but Rolex did it first. Rolex was ahead of the game, but sadly they discontinued it last year. End of an era, really. 2. The second-hand price is somewhere between $700,000 and $1,000. For my second pick, of course I'd have to consider the classic Submariner. Even though the Submariner isn't the most hyped, the no-date version is just too tempting. Plus, I'm a bit of a sucker for that kind of thing. I don't really care about resale value. As long as it looks good, that's all that matters. I'm sure there's not much need to introduce the Blind 10, but the current price is already $77,100. I never really paid attention to whether you can get it under retail, but the Blind 10 probably isn't too wild, right? The third one's a bit pricier, the Daytona. It's always been such a classic, legendary series. And the Panda dial is honestly gorgeous, but to be real, I'd rather get a white dial moonwatch. It's not exactly an apples-to-apples comparison, but since the price is way lower, I'd actually consider picking up the older black dial version instead. Because that shiny, classy vibe from the steel bezel is something a ceramic bezel just can't pull off. Plus, the old Daytona has this solid, grounded feel. None of that trend chasing you get with the new ones. I used to love the Panda Daytona, but as I've gotten older, my tastes have changed. Now I'm starting to appreciate the steel bezel Daytona, but prices out there are all over $150,000. For a first Rolex, that's just too much. Even I probably couldn't get past that myself. The fourth one, Air King, honestly, I haven't really looked into it. Is it basically the same as the Explorer 40mm? The Air King is one of the few models where I actually think the dial design is a bit special. At least when you wear it out, it's not one of those super common styles. Air King definitely stands out. Designed back in the 1950s and still going strong today, it's got a lot of meaning. The Air King isn't some hit model, so you don't have to pay crazy prices to get one. Number 5, and it looks a lot like the Air King I just mentioned, Explorer 1, also known as the 369. Simple and classic, never goes out of style. I feel like this one shouldn't be too hard to get, right? And finally, the most basic and ordinary one, Oyster Perpetual 36 or 41mm. But honestly, the green crystal kind of blows this simple model out of the water. But this one's perfect for beginners, way easier to get your hands on. Alright, let's wrap up the 6 Rolex watches we talked about today. Just to be clear, I'm definitely not saying the hyped ones are worth buying. If that's what you're after, go check out some other channels. Honestly, I think it's pretty rare for a Cantonese channel to actually look at buying your first Rolex from a user's perspective. Hope you guys don't think I'm an idiot. I'm just a watch nerd with zero baggage. I can just pick out whatever watch I like. I'm curious what you all think about the Rolex I'm considering. I'd love to hear your opinions. How should I choose? Maybe some of you will be a little disappointed. A lot of the hit models aren't even on my list. But hey, that's just how it is. Most of them have a date, like the GMT that so many people love. Honestly, I don't have much interest or motivation, but the black bezel Yachtmaster they've released in recent years is actually pretty nice. If it didn't have a date, I'd totally consider it because the bezel on the Yachtmaster is just gorgeous. Drop a comment or let me know if you have any good recommendations that fit what I'm looking for. This really represents Watch Catavlog, so I hope you enjoy this kind of content. It's a bit more chill. Subscribe and keep following me to see if I ever actually get a Rolex in the end. We'll check out watches from a different angle next episode.